Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're looking at a life that, well, it really defined a generation, didn't it? A life constantly wrestling with itself. John Winston Ono Lennon.
Born October 9th, 1940, lost to us December 8th, 1980.
And his journey was just staggering. From this rebellious kid in Liverpool to a global icon, activist, and then something else entirely.
A seeker of peace, maybe, in his own way?
Exactly. We've looked at a lot of material detailing his incredible highs and some really profound lows. Our mission here is to get past the headlines, to really understand how all those roles he played, singer, songwriter, artist, activist, how they all collided and shaped who he was. We want to get at the why.
And the why is crucial with Lennon, because the contrast is just so stark. You have this witty, almost abrasive public figure, and then underneath, this, deeply insecure man. I mean, the stats are undeniable. The Lennon-McCartney partnership, still the most successful ever.
25 number ones on Billboard Hot 100. As a writer or co-writer, it's incredible.
It's objective success, right? But the sources, they show a man just haunted by trauma, always searching for that stability he never really had as a kid.
So this deep dive, we need to look at the cost of being that idol.
And how his sort of desperate need for authenticity drove him through the fame, the political risks, the emotional, the failures too.
Okay, let's unpack those formative years. John Winston Lennon, born during the war in Liverpool, named after his grandfather and Winston Churchill.
Sounds grand, doesn't it? Stable, even.
But his childhood was anything but. His dad, Alfred, a merchant seaman, he was mostly gone. And then the paycheck stopped in 44.
Leaving his mother, Julia, basically alone and struggling to cope.
Which led to custody being handed over to Julia's older sister, Mimi Smith, and her husband, George. They lived at Mendips.
A very different environment. More structure, certainly. Materially safer, perhaps.
But emotionally
complex. Definitely complex. You're trading maybe overt affection for rigidity, for stability. And this instability, it peaks in 1946.
The New Zealand incident.
Yeah. Yes. Alfred tries to take 5-year-old John away with him. Now, the accounts differ slightly. Some paint this really dramatic picture.
The classic story of him having to choose between his parents on the spot.
Exactly. A devastating moment, if true. Primal rejection right there. Others suggest it was maybe quieter, that the parents just agreed Julia should take him back.
But either way,
the outcome was damaging. He lost contact with his father for almost 20 years. That early abandonment, that's the wound. You see it again and again.
Severe being left.
And the aggression, maybe, to push people away first before they can leave you.
Yeah, that makes sense. And it links directly to his personality later on, right?
Yeah.
The rebellious kid, the loudmouth, the lunatic poet, as he called himself.
Yeah.
It's a defense.
Totally. If you're funny enough, loud enough, maybe you control the situation, deflect the hurt.
At Quarrymen High School, his teacher saw it. Misplaced energy, lack of effort, troublemaker. Disrupting every friend's home, apparently.
But he was channeling it, wasn't he? Creatively. That satirical school magazine, The Daily Howl.
Yeah. Classic high IQ kid, just bored and refusing to fit in.
And the tension at home, at Mendips, that fueled it too. Mimi, she is quite intellectual, supported his reading, bought him books.
And Uncle George gave him a harmonica, did crosswords with him.
Right, so they nurtured his intellect. But Mimi, she wanted conventional success. She expected it.
Lennon later talked about being raised by 5 strong, intelligent, beautiful women, called it his first feminist education.
And that's more than just a clever line, I think. It exposed him to this powerful female presence, but also maybe an emotional complexity.
That maybe prepared him for Yoko later.
Possibly. Where he wasn't always the dominant one, he learned early that women weren't just passive figures. It fed his wit, but maybe also some of those volatile relationships later.
So we've got the intellect, the rebellion. Where does the music finally come in?
That was Julia, his mother. Despite giving up custody, she was the link to something else.
The escape hatch.
Exactly. She'd visit not with Mimi's strictness, but with excitement. Elvis records. Fats Domino's, ain't that a shame? She taught him banjo.
This was rock and roll arriving, pure joy. Something Mimi probably saw as, vulgar? Low class?
Pretty much. So when Julia bought him his first guitar cheap Galatone Champion, 5 quid, 10 shillings, she had it delivered to her house.
Knowing Mimi would disapprove.
Absolutely. Which led to that infamous quote.
Oh, yeah. The guitar's all very well, John, but you'll never make a living out of it.
Devastatingly ironic, isn't it? Must have haunted her, but it just cemented that clash in his youth. Structure versus passion.
But just as he starts to find that musical channel, tragedy again. The stability Julia offered, even fragmented, it was just ripped away.
Yeah.
July 15th, 1958.
Yeah. Julia, only 44. Hit by a car, killed instantly. Walking home after visiting Mendips, ironically.
God, the first abandonment was emotional. This was final.
Yeah.
Violent.
And the impact was catastrophic. The next 2 years, teenage John is consumed by what he later called blind rage.
Drinking heavily, getting into fights.
Just raw aggression. No way to process it otherwise. When the person who gave you that escape, that acceptance, is suddenly gone like that, the psychological damage is immense.
But that pain, it fueled some of his deepest art later, didn't it?
Absolutely. Think of the song Julia from '68. Heartbreaking tenderness. And he links her using that ocean child imagery. Yoko means ocean child links his mother and his new love. It's this complex emotional web.
The pain was always there.
Always. He failed his O-levels, got into Liverpool College of Art anyway, through intervention, but he was thrown out before his final year. He was ready for something else.
So the music gets organized. The Quarrymen, 1956. Skiffle. That's important context, right?
Oh yeah, skiffle was huge in Britain then. Kind of rough, DIY, folk, blues, jazz blend, anti-establishment, perfect for Lennon.
But the real spark happens July 6, 1957. St. Peter's Church Garden Fete. The handshake.
Lennon meets McCartney, invites him to join. History pivots right there.
And that combination, Lennon's raw, cynical edge and McCartney's, well, melodic gift.
That was the engine. Then McCartney brings in George Harrison. Lennon thought he was too young, only 14.
But George nailed raunchy on a bus audition, apparently.
Convinced him. But the real transformation, the crucible, that wasn't Liverpool, it was Hamburg.
Germany, 1960. Grueling residencies. 48 nights straight, sometimes playing 8 hours a night.
Unbelievable workload. And this is where the stimulants come in. Preludin.
Right, the sources mention this. To keep going.
Purely for survival. Preludin was basically a legally available amphetamine back then. They needed it to stay awake, keep the energy up for hundreds of hours of performance.
So it wasn't about creativity, it was just endurance.
Exactly. It stripped away any lingering amateurism. They learned stagecraft, how to handle crowds, how to be tight, that aggressive sound, forged in Hamburg. But it took a toll, foreshadowed the pressures to come.
Then comes Brian Epstein, 1962 to 67. He sees the potential, but knows they need polish.
Suits. Professional look. Lennon naturally resisted at first.
But his quote is pure Lennon, isn't it? I'll wear a bloody balloon if somebody's going to pay me.
Huh. Yeah. The artist, but also the pragmatist, he got the game.
And the others looked up to him.
Completely. McCartney said it. He was like our own little Elvis. The leader. The quickest wit, the smartest. He was the anchor.
Which makes that Royal Variety Show moment in '63 so potent.
Playing for the Queen Mother, no less. And he comes out with, for the people in the cheaper seats, clap your hands.
And the rest of you, if you'll just rattle your jewelry.
Brilliant. Subversive, class-conscious, funny. Delivered right to the establishment's face. Showed they weren't going to just bow down, despite the suits.
Though initially the songs were just pop. Lennon himself said the words were almost irrelevant early on.
Just creating a sound, but then Beatlemania explodes, especially after the U.S. debut in '64. And the pressure, the meaning, it all starts to shift, becomes unbearable.
The screaming. He realized they couldn't even hear the music.
What's the point? The musicianship suffered, the joy evaporates.
He called 1965 his Fat Elvis period. Felt bloated, disconnected.
Subconsciously seeking change, he said. And that feeling poured into the song Help. He insisted it wasn't just a catchy tune.
I meant it. It was me singing Help.
The untouchable star admitting he was drowning. Right there in a #1 single. Incredible vulnerability, really.
And while he's struggling inside, reality gets weirder outside. March '65. LSD.
Yeah, unknowingly. Spiked coffee at a dinner party. Changes everything. He was searching for something, and maybe drugs seemed like a door, even if it scared him at first.
So you've got burnout, emotional exhaustion, psychedelics.
Yeah.
It's all converging.
Setting the stage for the end of touring, which came abruptly, violently in '66 after the more popular than Jesus comment.
Right. Said it to a London reporter, just an observation about church attendance declining.
Christianity will go. We're more popular than Jesus now. In the UK, barely a ripple.
But in the U.S. Bible Belt.
Firestorm, record burnings, KKK protests, death threats specifically against Lennon.
They went from pop stars to targets overnight.
And that furor, really, it gave them the excuse they maybe already wanted, to stop touring. August 1966, the public stage was just too dangerous. physically and psychologically.
Okay, so touring ends and a new phase begins. The artist as revolutionary. And the catalyst, Yoko Ono.
November 9th, 1966. Indica Gallery, London.
He was drawn to her conceptual art, right? Something totally outside the pop world he felt trapped in.
Exactly. That famous story about her hammer and nail piece. He offers imaginary money to hammer an imaginary nail.
It wasn't about looks, it was a meeting of minds. Surreal conceptual humor.
An intellectual connection first, which quickly became collaborative and, well, scandalous. Those avant-garde albums like Two Virgins.
Notorious for the naked cover photo.
A deliberate rejection of his Beatles image. Then, May 68, Cynthia's away. He invites Yoko over. They record Two Virgins and, as he put it, made love at dawn.
That was the end of his marriage to Cynthia. Settled out of court by November 68.
And this intense new relationship immediately fuels action. Political action. They get married in Gibraltar, March 69.
And turn the honeymoon into performance art. The bed-ins for peace.
First Amsterdam, then Montreal, where they record Give Peace a Chance, right there in the hotel room with whoever was around. Genius PR, really. Revolutionary.
And beigism.
Yeah, in Vienna. Wearing bags over themselves to critique prejudice based on appearance. Playful, odd, confusing for the press. Perfect.
He was hijacking the fame machine.
Using it for change, not just commerce. He even changed his name legally, April 69. John Winston Ono Lennon. Added her name.
Solidified his pacifist stance, too. All You Need Is Love in 67 was a precursor. Then Give Peace a Chance becomes this huge anti-war anthem.
Adopted by protesters in D.C. His political statements got bolder, sometimes funny, too.
Like returning his MBE medal in 69, protesting Britain's role in Nigeria Biafra, supporting the U.S. and Vietnam.
And then cheekily adding, protesting his single Cold Turkey slipping down the charts.
Classic Lennon. The serious point, then the undercut. Keeps him human.
He got involved in specific causes, too. Supporting James Hanratty's family, the Hanged Man, staged a march.
Wrote Power to the People in 71. Very direct.
But he disowned that later, interestingly. Said it came from guilt after talking to Tariq Ali, a radical figure. Felt hypocritical, maybe, as a millionaire rock star preaching revolution like that.
So he felt his real power was in peace and humor.
Things the establishment couldn't easily fight. Which brings us to New York, August 71.
He and Yoko moved there. Embrace radical left politics immediately. Release Happy Xmas, War is Over, that December.
And this gets noticed by the U.S. government.
The Nixon administration, they saw him as a genuine threat with his platform against the war.
Absolutely. They started a 4-year campaign to deport him, used a 1968 cannabis conviction as the pretext.
It wasn't just red tape, it was targeted.
Political weaponization of immigration law. The FBI files later showed they thought his actual revolutionary effectiveness was limited, but the fear he generated in Washington was real.
And the siege mentality, it bleeds into the music. Sometime in New York City, 1972.
Very political album. Songs about women's rights, race relations, woman is the nigger of the world, incredibly provocative title, Northern Ireland.
Critically and commercially.
A flop! Too heavy-handed, critics said. Too preachy. The world wanted the dreamer, maybe, not the pamphleteer.
And their response to the deportation attempts? Newtopia.
Hilarious. 1973, a conceptual country. No land, no boundaries, no passports, only people. Waving white handkerchiefs as the flag. Surreal protest art against bureaucracy. Brilliant.
So all this pressure, New York, the government, plus the old wounds from the Beatles breakup. It's building.
The breakup itself was messy. Lennon had actually decided to leave back in September 69, agreed to keep quiet while things were sorted legally.
But then McCartney announced his departure in April 70, promoting his solo album.
And Lennon was incandescent, felt totally betrayed. Jesus Christ, he gets all the credit for it, he supposedly yelled.
That bitterness fueled a lot of public sparring.
Oh, yeah. That 1970 interview where he basically said he, George, and Ringo were just sidemen for Paul. Ouch. And it exploded in the song How Do You Sleep? On a
direct attack on Paul. Vicious.
That's really personal. And the sourness extended to George Harrison, too, apparently. After Lennon moved to the U.S., they drifted.
Lennon felt ignored in George's autobiography, I, Me, Mine.
Hurt by the glaring omission as he saw it, felt his influence on George's early career was just dismissed, tapped right back into that core insecurity about his own importance.
So the pressure cooker finally bursts, leading to the separation from Yoko. The Lost Weekend.
18 months, from 1973 to early 75. A period of, well, chaos. Regression, maybe.
And it was Yoko herself who suggested his companion for this period, May Pang, their assistant.
Which is complex, isn't it? Suggests this intense, maybe controlling codependency. Like, Yoko needed to manage his crisis even while they were apart.
The Lost Weekend itself sounds like pure excess. Heavy drinking with Harry Nilsson. Public incidents.
Yeah, getting thrown out of the Troubadour Club in L.A. for heckling. The menstrual pad incident earlier.
Trying to be the rebellious class clown again.
But coming off as just self-destructive. A really low point.
Yet, amidst all that darkness, there was a glimmer of redemption. Connecting with Julian again.
Yes, and May Pang really encouraged that. It's a crucial turning point. He hadn't seen his son properly for 2 years.
They went to Disneyland. Julian played drums on a track for Walls and Bridges.
Lennon bought him instruments, taught him guitar. For a man scarred by his own father issues and losing his mother, rebuilding that bond, it was a genuine attempt to heal. Showed the yearning for family was still there, under all the noise.
And he was still creative despite the chaos. Walls and Bridges came out in '74.
And gave him his only solo U.S. #1 single while he was alive. Whatever Gets You Through the Night, with Elton John.
Which led to that surprise stage appearance. Madison Square Garden, November '74.
Huge moment. He'd promised Elton if the single hit #1, he'd perform with him. He kept his word, played the hit Lucy in the Sky, and then...
Introduced I Saw Her Standing There as a song by an old estranged fiancé of mine called Paul.
Huh. Still competitive, still a raw nerve, clearly.
But the Lost Weekend ended suddenly. February '75. He goes back to Yoko.
Supposedly because she had a cure for his smoking. A strange pretext.
He apparently told May Pang he felt stupefied and confused, even brainwashed.
Whatever the reality, that intense bond with Yoko, healthy or not, it was the anchor he seemed to need, the structure he craved. And that reunion leads into maybe the most unexpected chapter. 5 years of domesticity.
Sean Ono Lennon is born, October 9th, 1975, Lennon's 35th birthday.
And Yoko insists. John becomes a house husband, steps away completely.
Which for him, for John Lennon, was maybe the most radical act of all.
You could argue that. After commanding stadiums, writing anthems, just stop. He took a 5-year break from music, said he baked bread and looked after the baby.
Woke up at 6 a.m., planned meals, devoted himself to Sean, only recorded 1 track in that whole time.
Cooking in the Kitchen of Love for Ringo in '76. That's it.
It suggests that maybe that quest for home, that stability missing since childhood, finally became more important than the fame.
Perhaps. He seemed to find a peace there that eluded him everywhere else.
Until June 1980, the creative spark returns, dramatically.
Yeah, not in a studio, but on a boat. Sailing to Bermuda, caught in a massive storm. Everyone else is sick. Lennon takes the helm, navigates through it.
The physical challenge broke the mental block.
Seems like it. He gets to Bermuda and spends 3 weeks just writing. The muse was back.
Which leads to the comeback album, Double Fantasy, November 1980, with just starting over.
And the music's different, isn't it? Not angry, not primal. It's about contentment. Stable, adult love, family life.
Though the old competitiveness hadn't completely vanished, he heard McCartney's coming up around that time.
And jokingly complained it was driving him crackers. Because it was so catchy, the rivalry was always there under the surface.
His last political act was low-key, too.
Yeah.
Supporting striking sanitation workers in San Francisco, December 5th, 1980.
Just 3 days later, that voice, that life, is just extinguished.
December 8th, 1980. It's one of those dates, isn't it? Everyone remembers. He autographs a copy of Double Fantasy for Mark David Chapman outside the Dakota around 5 p.m.
Then he and Yoko return later, about 10:50 p.m., walking into the building. Chapman is waiting.
Shoots him. 4 times, close range, twice in the back, twice in the shoulder, just horrific speed.
Rushed to Roosevelt Hospital, pronounced dead at 11:15 p.m. EST, 40 years old.
And Yoko's reaction, requesting a silent vigil, there is no funeral for John.
Denying the world that spectacle of public mourning, forcing a quieter reflection perhaps. His remains were cremated, ashes scattered in Central Park near Strawberry Fields. The immediate impact was huge. Those songs of renewal, like Starting Over, became songs of grief overnight. Double Fantasy top charts everywhere, won the Grammy for Album of the Year in '81.
His place was secured. Songwriters Hall of Fame, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, twice, once with the Beatles, once solo.
But the real legacy, I think, is in that vulnerability he showed. His songs are like self-portraits, as one source put it. They speak about the human condition, warts and all.
From the raw pain of Mother, facing that abandonment,
to the warmth and contentment in songs like Woman from Double Fantasy.
That honesty is key. Rolling Stone called him the 5th greatest singer ever, noted his voice could go from that hard, raspy sound to extreme vulnerability.
That northern voice, tinged with blues, it gave weight to songs like Imagine, voted the UK's favorite lyric once. Such a simple idea, but so powerful. Global unity.
And the music just keeps echoing, doesn't it? 2023, the surviving Beatles release Now and Then, using his demo.
Yeah.
The last Beatles song tops the charts again.
His influence is visual, too. Those round Windsor glasses became iconic, a style statement. His drawings, his writings, like, in his own right. His name is on airports, memorials, even a crater on Mercury.
And the great irony, thinking back to the FBI files, they deemed him of limited effectiveness as a revolutionary.
Yet his willingness to take risks, return the MBE, fight deportation, use his fame, that's why he's still admired. He changed minds through songs, not organization.
The songs were the revolution.
Absolutely. We've traced this journey of a man profoundly hurt by loss who turned that pain into art and activism, and then ultimately seemed to find peace not in fame, but in the quietest place, home, baking bread, raising his son.
The contrast is incredible. World-famous star always searching for that so-called home he lost as a child.
And finding deep satisfaction in just being a dad. It's beautiful and heartbreakingly complex.
So the final thought for you, the listener. We see these two huge revolutionary acts in his life.
Yeah.
The public one, demanding peace on a global stage. And the private one, walking away from it all for domestic peace.
Which took more courage? Which leaves the more lasting impact? Was the real revolution happening in front of millions, or in those quiet moments baking bread? Something to think about.